We could probably speed run this NFL episode.
Do you want me to be the host?
Can we? Can we speed run it? Can you speed run anything?
I don't know. I don't know. I just ramble sometimes, man. Y'all gotta help. Y'all gotta help. Cut me off or something. I don't know. I just be rambling. Yeah, you can host this time if you want. Siege, I let Aaron have the opportunity last week.
I'll just go like this if you start rambling, Burke.
Yeah, no, dead ass. Dead ass. I'm not even kidding. Please.
See,
I wouldn't say I really hosted.
The only issue with me hosting is I don't have a script, and I don't know what happened.
You have the script. I sent it in Discord, kind of.
Just read what Burke's little thing said. Yeah, just kind of ramble off that. BS off that.
So I'll just be like,
Will
Levis was okay in losing effort versus Pittsburgh.
Just be like, what are your thoughts?
Just ask what we thought.
Yeah. Maybe what did you guys think about Will Levis in his game against Pittsburgh this weekend?
Oh, I've got some thoughts. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I really do.
Maybe you pull up some stats, read off some stats, and then throw it to us.
Yeah.
What's up, guys? It's Siege back with another episode of Swivel Chair Sports, the most unprofessional sportscast in the world. Today we have a little insight on NFL. We got look at Will Levis, Josh Dobbs, a lot of quarterback talk, and a little bit of look into the future for the playoff picture. Let's get into it. All right, first order of business, boys. Let's talk a little bit about Will Levis. He threw for 260 yards, one pick, no touchdowns. Give me a little thought of his effort in the game at Pittsburgh, or versus Pittsburgh.
So, I have some thoughts. As most viewers may know, this past week, I picked him up on fantasy for an abysmal $55, which was ridiculous. I shouldn't have done that. But that's beside the point. Besides the overpay on my fantasy team, I thought he looked really good. I thought he looked poised in the pocket against a really, really solid Pittsburgh defense, especially that pass rush. Joey Bosa, wrong team. T.J. Watt was all over him in the backfield that game, but Will Levis just kept hanging in there. He made some tough throws when it mattered. I think he had 5 or 6 passes that went over, ended up being gains of over 20-plus yards. So I was really impressed by how poised he looked. He gave the Titans a chance to win there at the end. Unfortunately, he did throw the pick in the end zone within the last final 20 seconds or whatever it may be. But I thought Will Levis looked solid. I think Mike Vrabel tabbed him as the starting quarterback going forward for the Tennessee Titans. I think that was the right call. I think Will Levis has a bright future in the NFL. He may not, put up Lamar Jackson numbers like he did at the end of the season whenever he came in his rookie year. He may not put up the kind of numbers that Baker Mayfield did his rookie year when he came in after 4 games. But I think Will Levis is going to be a solid quarterback for the Titans moving forward. I think the most important thing was that he was poised under pressure. So,
Aaron, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I kind of agree. I think he definitely looked better than I thought he would. That defense up there in Pittsburgh has been really good this year and has won them the game on multiple occasions. But Will Levis, he did look pretty calm and confident and at ease there in the pocket. I think there were a couple throws later in the game that he kind of missed. There was some pressure in his face. He kind of short-armed it, skipped it in there a couple times. Then obviously that pick at the end was
it was bad.
Sealed the deal.
Yeah.
But I mean, he was kind of forced. Like you said, there wasn't much time left. Had to do something. Yeah. So I don't necessarily hold that one against him for trying to go and win them the game. But I think we're going to have to wait and see. I'm not his biggest fan. I wasn't his biggest fan at Kentucky. He was just kind of average. So I think that's kind of what he's going to be. If we're forecasting and kind of predicting his career, I think he's just going to kind of be middle of the pack average. One thing I do kind of find interesting is that, as you said, he was kind of named starter for the rest of the season. Why didn't they deal Tannehill before the trade deadline and try and get something? If you're assuming this is going to be their quarterback of the future, why wouldn't they deal Tannehill?
I would think that they weren't sure. I mean, because I think the deadline was before Levis's first start, if I remember right. So I think that's a lot to do with it. Is that they weren't sure what to expect from Will Levis yet, and then he gets out there in his debut and he's really really good, like insanely good. Obviously that was a little bit, he was playing out of his mind.
Outlier game.
Yeah, it's an outlier game. He's not going to play like that every single week by any means. I think he'll have flashes where he looks like that from time to time throughout the next few years. Maybe not. He may never not have another 4 touchdown, 300-yard game this season. But I think Thursday night really showed you that he's got the poise to be an NFL quarterback going forward in this league. He was not fazed by the pressure. You see a lot of young quarterbacks come in and they get, especially a defense like that Pittsburgh defense under a really, really solid, experienced head coach under like Mike Tomlin. You see quarterbacks kind of look like deer in the headlights against teams like that. And I didn't feel like Will Levis looked like that on Thursday. I think he looked like a veteran quarterback who'd been there before. He knew how to handle pressure and, take contact after the pass. I think Will Levis showed a lot this week, even though it was a loss and even though he didn't throw any touchdowns and threw less than 300 yards. I think Will Levis kind of showed you that he's willing to hang in there. I think he earned a lot of respect from his teammates with that. I think there's a reason that Vrabel named him the head coach going forward. I think they have a lot of hopes with him. So
that kind of brings up a point I wanted to talk about, comparing kind of his first game to the Steelers game. Obviously, he played the Falcons in the first game.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking basketball because I have basketball in the background. My bad. I saw ATL and I was like, Hawks. But no, Falcons. I mean, even in that first game, he only threw for 238 yards.
Yeah.
He didn't throw for a crazy amount of yards. He was just finding the open guy and getting easy touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
He had 4 touchdowns. He only threw the ball 29 times. In the Pittsburgh game, he throws the ball almost 40 times.
Right.
He gets like 30 extra yards, no touchdowns. Like, is that just a Pittsburgh's defense is better at keeping everybody in front, or is that kind of what we're seeing here?
Yeah, I think Tennessee obviously has a very good running back in Derrick Henry, and they rely a lot on their run game.
Yeah.
But I think facing a good defense like the Steelers, they kind of forced them to throw the ball more, especially as it was, a bit closer of a game.
Right.
So obviously they had to kind of push the ball downfield a little bit more, and they tried. Not all of the yards, are going to come from him. They're going to rely a lot on Derrick Henry. So
Yeah.
I think that's it's kind of like they're looking for a nice balance there, especially with a young guy like him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mentioned it last week. I think I predicted he was going to throw 35 passes this week, and I was pretty spot on. I was crazy. I did not expect to be that accurate, but obviously the other stats didn't come to fruition with the 2 touchdowns and the 300 yards or whatever I said. But I knew he'd get a lot of opportunities this game. I figured they'd be playing behind. They weren't really, which was what was kind of peculiar to me, is that they weren't really behind most of the game. But they kept passing the ball. When you have a running back like Derrick Henry, I figured they would have ran it more. I expect them to get that corrected, kind of like Aaron said, more of a balance between the two going forward, especially with a young guy like Will Levis back there, where he's trying to still get his feet wet in the NFL. I think the play action is going to be huge for him going forward. I think a lot of play fakes to Derrick Henry on like second, third down is going to be massive, especially on third and shorts, second and shorts. But yeah, it was weird to see him throw that many. I said he'd throw 35 mainly because I thought they'd be losing the entire game. But they had control of the game for the most part, and he was still chucking up passes, so that kind of caught me off guard.
I think part of it is, as good of a running back as Derrick Henry is, that Pittsburgh defense is really good, so they probably really limited them as far as what they could do in the run game.
Yeah, you're probably
so they ran it where they could and when they could, and then they were obviously forced to throw it a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. Any last thoughts on Will Levis?
Nah.
No?
I think I'm good.
Ready Ready to move on to Germany?
Yeah,
Talk
Deutschland.
about
Deutschland.
talk about Chiefs and Miami. Obviously, the difference in this game was a fumble returned for a touchdown. So that was kind of the highlight of the game. It looked like the Chiefs were in control of the game first half. Miami obviously comes out in the second half, makes it a game. Talk me through a little bit about what you saw in the Chiefs and how their offense is struggling slightly, and maybe the difference of the game being their defense. Talk me through that. You go first, Aaron. Or no, not even Aaron. Let's go Burke since he's wearing the Chiefs gear.
All right. I'll take
I was gonna
lead.
go Aaron.
Yeah, so like as you said, Chiefs looked dominant in the first half. I expected that to carry over to the second. It did not really. He highlighted that big old scoop and score by the Chiefs defense. Ironically, it was Trent McDuffie stripping Tyreek Hill. For those of you who don't know, the part of the package we got in the Tyreek Hill trade was the pick that landed us Trent McDuffie. So it's kind of crazy, cosmic energy to see those two butt heads and end up being like the turning point of the game.
No need for name calling,
you might say. So yeah, it was crazy to see like the guy we basically traded Tyreek for be the reason we won the game off of a Tyreek Hill turnover. But that aside, the second half was a little concerning. The offense for the second straight week did not score in the second half. In fact, against Denver, I mentioned it last week, they didn't score a touchdown at all. Luckily, we're going into a bye this week. I think hopefully we get a lot of that corrected going forward. But yeah, the offense is concerning. But as long as we have, as long as we have one of the best defenses in the league, I think we'll get it figured out eventually. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL. That's just a fact. Whether you like it or not, he is the best quarterback in the NFL. Chiefs defense is top 5 at the very least, whether you like it or not. You could say they're the second best behind the Browns. But yeah, I mean, as long as that defense is playing as well as they are, I think the offense has a chance to turn it around.
Aaron, do you agree, or do you have a completely different view on it?
I don't know. As far as the best quarterback in the league, there might be a young kid down in Houston that might be giving him a run for his money.
That might be the only one I kind of agree with. Yeah, CJ Stroud's killing it.
But yeah, I mean, our defense has been on it all year. Really been happy with the progress they've made, especially over the years. Considering when Mahomes was first our starter, it was a shootout, and obviously the famous game with us and the Rams being like in the 50s.
Yeah, which is crazy.
So they've come a long way, and really happy with the progress they've made. But our offense seems just can't figure it out for even 3 quarters at this point. They play, maybe a full half of good football. In this game, that only resulted in them scoring 14 points. The defense had the other 7. Right. So they obviously have a lot to work on. And I hope, maybe this is a little early to say, but I hope in the offseason maybe we go and get him some more weapons, Mahomes some more weapons, especially at receiver, something. They need somebody other than Travis Kelce to throw to. Rashee Rice, I've been really happy with his progress, good. But they just they just at times just refuse to look at people.
Yeah,
it's like Kelce or bust at times, and it's very annoying. And I am still very annoyed with our lack of effort in running the ball in 3rd and short situations. We continue to run these string out plays, these screen plays, and continue to get tackled for loss.
Try to be cute with it, yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah, that's very frustrating, the 3rd and short. Sorry, go ahead, Siege.
I was just going to say, it kind of seems like that's how offenses are being run, even at like the college level. Like these really short yardage situations, it's like, stop trying to get cute with it and play the ball behind the line of scrimmage on these like long screen passes. These random, like, weird plays that are being developed behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
If you're going to run a pass play, at least, like, get to the sticks.
Something.
It doesn't and throw it downfield. Get it out of the backfield.
Flat route, anything other than, like, throwing it behind the line of scrimmage. That's what's been the most infuriating thing as a Chiefs fan this year, kind of like Aaron said, is 3rd and short, Mahomes is throwing it. The defense knows Mahomes is throwing it. Everyone in the stadium knows Mahomes is throwing it. I don't know why he's throwing it on 3rd and 2, but he is. You got Pacheco back here. He could easily get you 2 yards up the middle. which is another frustrating thing. Is they try to keep bouncing him outside. He's not an outside running back. He's not a one cut running back. He's a bowl you over, run through the tackles, hard nosed running back. You need to run him up the middle. You can't keep bouncing him outside. That's what's been the most frustrating thing with the running game this year. Is they think he's the next Jamal Charles. He's not Jamal Charles. He's more of a Larry Johnson. He's more of a Larry Johnson than a Jamal Charles. Run him between the tackles. He's gonna get hit. That's just part of the game as a running back. But
he's gonna get hit hard too.
He's gonna get hit hard. But you know what? Every time he gets hard, that dude bounces up off the turf faster than I've ever seen.
Pause.
Pause. That dude bounces off the turf faster than any running back I've ever seen when he gets hit with a whole full head of steam from a safety. Like, that dude hits the ground, 0.5 seconds, he's already up on his feet. So I think he can handle it. I wish we'd do it more. I'm sick of seeing him being bounced outside because that's just not the type of running back he is.
Yeah, it seems like most offenses need to take what Philly's doing and just replicate it.
Agreed.
Even if it's not a tush push, like bring back the fullback.
Yeah.
Bring back the I formation.
Oh, I think Pacheco would be nasty with like a Trent Richardson blocking for him or something. Oh my gosh, I think that'd be filthy.
Yeah. I think everybody's just trying to get too cute and flashy with stuff instead of just taking care of business and sort down situations. But that's just me, and that's fine. We ready to move on?
Yeah.
After you guys got your little rant about the Chiefs out?
Yeah.
Okay. The Ravens are rolling right now. They beat the Seahawks 37-3. What do you guys take out of this? Seahawks are 5-3, Ravens 7-2. Ravens are rolling, found the offense. What's going on?
I was kind of surprised that it was this bad. I was kind of high on the Seahawks coming into this game. I think they've got a really good and young receiving core. That being said, they were just dumbfounded by Baltimore's defense. They had no chance. They, looked confused the whole game, and Lamar obviously did Lamar things and balled out, and they looked really good on offense. So I think Seattle has some things to look at for next week, some things to fix, and I think they could be one of those top playoff teams at the end of the year.
Yeah, the Ravens are scary. That's what I'm going to say as a Chiefs fan. The Ravens scare the shit out of me. They can run the piss out of the ball. Granted, the Chiefs' defense has been really good against the run specifically this year. Better against the run than the pass, from what I can tell. At least just eyeball test. It seems that way. But the Ravens scare the crap out of me. Lamar Jackson's been efficient as hell. That running game has been insane. And that they're in the toughest conference in the NFL, and they're leading it pretty easily outside of that Pittsburgh loss. So I think the only team that even comes close to scaring me as much as the Ravens would be the Bengals, which is ironic because they're last place in that same division. But that division's insane, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. The AFC North is just an absolutely ridiculous division right now. So. But yeah, the Ravens are scary. Lamar Jackson looks like an MVP. He's back to the MVP version that he was a few years ago outside of the touchdowns. But they just seem like they know how to take care of business. Second straight week, they've hung 30 on a team without allowing 10, I believe. So, yeah, they're just a scary team. That's all I can really say about them.
I want to talk about the Seahawks just for like half a second. How do you only rush the ball for 28 yards in a game?
You are very confused.
And that defense is insane.
28 yards? You can't get 28 yards on the ground?
How many attempts did they have?
Hold on.
Not a lot. 15, not a lot.
Well, that's part of the problem too, probably.
Yeah.
But then again, when you go down...
When you're down so
when
much...
When you're down
you
17-3 at halftime, you can't really run the ball.
So... Yeah, Ravens are cooking.
I would like to correct myself. It's not the second straight week they've dropped 30 and allowed less than 10. It's the second time in 3 weeks they dropped 30 and allowed less than 10. So they did that to the Lions 2 weeks ago, not last week.
Way to go in there and correct yourself, Berg. Good job. Any more thoughts on the Ravens? Any last things? Nope. All right, we can go ahead and move on. Let's go to Minnesota. Josh Dobbs moving up there, learning the count right before the game, getting a little practice snaps right before the game. He goes out there. What do you guys think about Josh Dobbs and the Vikings? Do you think he can turn their season around or not?
I will say this, all credit in the world to Josh Dobbs. That man has been through the ringer in the last year and a half or so. I think this is his fourth team in the last 2 seasons. Fifth team in the last 2 seasons. Third city he's been in the last 6 months or whatever it is, which is insane. Started off in Pittsburgh, then went to Arizona. Now he's Minnesota. So credit to that dude. That dude's a warrior. Definition of consistent, I guess. But yeah, I mean, also, I can't believe he was able to come in and win that game, honestly. Against a team was it the Falcons, I believe?
Yep.
Who should have won that game, but Arthur, their coach, whoever his fucking name is, does not... Arthur Smith. I thought it was Arthur Smith. Sounded too generic of a name, which is actually probably fitting, because he's
son of the guy who founded FedEx.
Does not know what he's doing back there. You've got one of the best rookie running backs in the league, and you use him like, what was it, 15 times maybe?
He had 11 carries.
Yeah, I'm so sick of Bijan Robinson not getting the ball down there in Atlanta. This is infuriating
He's
to
on
me.
your fantasy team?
Yes, he's on my fantasy team. Yeah. It's infuriating to me. Every other Bijan Robinson owner would say the same. This is stupid. Why are you giving the ball to Tyler Algier? Give it to Bijan. The dude's a stud. 11 carries, he had 51 yards. You know how many rushing yards per carry that is? Like almost 5. That's insane. Give Bijan the ball. That's my only comment
Algier
for this.
flopped off last year. Algier was really good last year.
No, he was, but Bijan's better. That's just an objective fact.
Not if he's too tired to run.
Too tired to run? How's he too tired to run? He had 10 carries.
Yeah, because he split them with a good guy.
Oh my god. 103 carries in 8 weeks is ridiculous. Or 9 weeks. 103 carries in 9 weeks is insane. How does he not have 200 already? I don't know. That's why Atlanta lost this game. In a nutshell. Josh Dobbs, credit to him where credit's due. Came in, learned a playbook on the fly. But if Atlanta runs the ball with their best player, it's a different story. That's all I gotta say.
Well, I would probably agree with you, but I mean, Josh Dobbs outrushed Bijan Robinson, and that's an issue.
Not Bijan's fault. 5 yards
to carry. You should have picked up Dobbs instead of Levis, pal.
He was already taken.
Yeah. Well, yeah, credit to Dobbs. I'm pretty sure he's a literal rocket scientist. So
I think he is.
That's going for him.
Crazy.
But having your coach pretty much map out the plays as you're standing there pre-snap is a wild thing to think about. And them being able to actually pull it off and win the game, props to them.
No,
and yes, I think he can turn their season around.
Yeah, I forgot that was the whole question of this segment. Sorry, I was just so fuming over the Bijan.
Hell yeah, Arthur Smith can turn the Falcons into a bad team. He can turn the season into garbage.
I'm so over this Falcons bullshit right now. I'm sorry. Bijan Robinson should be getting way more carries than he is. But yes, I do think Josh Dobbs can turn their season around. That division's not very good. Detroit's the only team relevant up there right now. Chicago's bad. Green Bay's bad. If Josh Dobbs can lead them to the playoffs, I would not be surprised.
All right. Well, let's move on to that. From that, let's head a little south. Rookie of the year. Is there a question who the rookie of the year is going to be, or is it going to be CJ?
It's CJ Stroud. It's not even a question.
Maybe Bijan Robinson
maybe if Bijan Robinson got more carries.
Got more carries, we'd be in a different spot right now.
God,
in this conversation.
It pisses me off, man. I can't. You know how many fantasy Managers are so mad about this right now. I can't just no. CJ Stroud, Rookie of the Year. He's been incredible this season. One of the best rookie seasons we've seen out of a quarterback in at least a few years, probably since the Justin Herbert season. So, I don't think it's even close. If Anthony Richardson would have stayed healthy, I think he had a good shot. I liked Anthony Richardson a lot. He was good when he played. He just didn't hardly ever play because he was hurt 90% of the time. So, hopefully that works itself out. But, I don't think it's a question at this point, Aaron.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's clearly, by far, without a doubt, no argument can be made against this. He is the best quarterback in the NFL, bar none. Nobody even comes close, not even that scrub Patrick Mahomes. He is leading a Buns franchise in the Houston Texans win after win. No, but all jokes aside,
that last part
was very good.
That last part was true. Dead ass. That was true. That organization's a dog shit.
He put up college numbers this weekend.
No, it's insane what he did. Yeah,
470 yards and five tutties. Oh, that's ridiculous.
On the worst, probably the worst supporting cast in the NFL.
I don't know. I think they've got a decent young receiving core. I think that Tank Dell kid is going to be legit.
Tank Dell is better than expected. Dalton Schultz isn't bad, but I mean, outside of him, Robert Woods is okay.
They've got another one.
They got John Mechie, but he only
Noah Brown. He'll have a great game, and then he'll be
150-yard game.
Invisible the rest of the season, though. He'll be invisible the rest of the season, though. That's the thing with him. He does that. He has one game like that every season. So
Aaron, it looks like you're doing some research over there. What are we looking at?
I was looking up the other receiver, Nico Collins, who's
he's not bad, but
he's leading a team in receptions in receiving yards.
On the team, but how many receiving yards does he have?
631.
That's solid.
They've got a fairly good spread. I mean, he's got 631. Yeah. Tank Dell has 450. Schultz has 350. So they've got a decent spread as a running
back having 450 receiving yards this year already is kind of crazy. Tank Dell's credit where credit's due. Tank Dell's solid.
Did you say a running back?
Is he not a running back?
No.
Who's their running back?
Devin Singletary.
Yeah, Devin.
Damon Pierce.
Tank sounds like a running back name.
It does. But he's a receiver.
I would have made him a running back.
Nice toe tap there in the last game. Nice catch on the sideline.
Off the name alone, Tank Dell's starting running back for me. Yeah, we'll get that happen.
All right. Well, CJ Stroud is being named Rookie of the Year. You heard it here first on Swivel Chair Sports.
And MVP.
Oh, and MVP. Yeah, he's the best
Dell's
player.
The best running back in the league.
Yeah, he's the best. He's got the best hands for a running back in the league. Here we go.
Yeah.
All right. We saw a lot of uproar on Twitter from Des Bryant about this. Even Trayvon Diggs chimed in a little bit also after the game on Twitter. I mean X. My bad. X. Eagles and Cowboys. What are y'all's thoughts on the officiating in that game? One of y'all.
I thought it was bad. The Cowboys got fucking hoed. He clearly grabbed at the goal line. Do I care? No, not really. It doesn't affect me. But they got hoed. They got screwed. There was definitely at least defensive holding. You can call it pass interference if you want, but either way, flag should have been thrown there on the goal line.
I think it's perfectly fine, especially since it's against Dallas, and I hate Dallas and their fans. So I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think it's completely legal and fair game.
He was definitely short, though. We can agree on that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, the ball didn't cross the goal line.
No.
But, yeah, I mean, he was definitely being held on his hip before it happened, but it is what it is. It happens every play, pretty much. But when it happens in the biggest play of the game, it tends to get focused on more. So,
Nothing can get worse than who were the Saints playing when
the
the
Vikings.
receiver just got
The Vikings.
rocked?
Yeah,
Yes.
they were playing the Vikings. Yeah, in the divisional round or whatever.
Then nothing gets worse than that.
Yeah,
Nothing
I think it was at your house.
Ever can get worse.
I think it was at your house when that happened, and Coop was there. Right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think I was there at y'all and Cross's apartment. So.
Okay.
But yeah, no, Cowboys got screwed.
Any other thoughts on Des Bryant's reaction on Twitter?
I didn't see that.
I didn't see it.
Oh, you didn't see it? Well, he tweeted about 15 times about, like, oh, that was terrible. The better team did not win that game. Bad call. He was just, like, making all of his thoughts singular tweets.
I will say, from what I can tell, Dak outplayed Jalen. Dak outplayed Jalen that game. I will say that much.
Is that, like, super unexpected?
I think it depends on who you are. I think it could be unexpected for some people. Jalen's the more consistent quarterback. Dak's got the higher ceiling, I feel like.
No.
You don't think so? I think as far as a passer goes?
No.
I think as a passer, Dak has a higher ceiling. Week to week.
Especially not with their comparative receiving course.
I think, well, no, I mean, obviously Phillies is insane, but I don't think Dallas is that bad. I think Dallas is pretty good receiving corps.
I'm not saying that they're bad, but I'm saying Philly has one of the best receiving corps in the league.
Probably history, honestly, with Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert, who's out for the next 5 weeks or so with a broken forearm. Also on my fantasy team. Going great this year. Guys. But, no, I think, do you think Philly's better than Dallas? I mean, outside of just them winning. Yeah?
Yeah.
I would agree. But I don't think it's too big of a gap.
I think Philly's definitely more consistent with how they play.
For sure.
Compared to Dallas. Dallas is either, like, they'll have one game where they go off, and then the next game they'll look terrible.
No, that's true.
There's just no consistency with that team, so I don't think there's any longevity with them being good, if that makes sense.
No,
throughout the season.
The only thing I have faith in for the Cowboys is losing a game when it really matters.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. No, that's about right.
Yep.
They'll lose first playoff game they play this year against an inferior opponent they should beat. But it was a good game. It was a really good game. Dak Prescott steps out of bounds on a 2-point conversion that could have easily probably scored on if he just lowers his shoulder. Could have changed the complete outcome of the game. Who knows? But yeah, Philly's the better team right now, and I don't think it's a question.
Sounds very Dak Prescott of him to do. Moving on to a guy that has an opposing team's stadium named after him. Joe Burrow and the Bengals are finally figuring it out. Cincy is back after beating the Bills.
They are, but
alliteration, I like it.
Chill.
What are you guys thinking on that? Aaron, I'll let you go first so Bert can get his rant in after you.
So I think we all know how Burke feels about the Bills at this point.
Yeah,
Bert, can I read you off some stats to support my future argument here?
Okay.
Josh Allen has a 71% completion percentage. He's averaging 269 yards per game. He's got 18 touchdowns and 9 interceptions.
That's not good.
This other anonymous unknown quarterback
is it Mahomes?
Has a completion percentage of...
It's Mahomes,
No.
isn't it?
No.
Okay, is it Will Levis? That doesn't count.
68.6% completion percentage. He's averaging 271 yards per game, 17 touchdowns, 8 interceptions.
That's Mahomes.
That's Mahomes.
Yeah, that's Mahomes.
So my argument is that Buffalo and KC have similar offensive struggles in the fact that they have one reliable target to throw to.
Yeah,
Stephon Diggs, Travis Kelce.
Yep.
And they both need other weapons to kind of help break that offense open. So I think their offense is very similar to ours. The difference in, our success this year is we have a really good defense, and theirs is kind of on the rocks, especially with
Well,
the injuries that
yeah, I was about to say the injuries play a huge part in why their defense is as bad as it is this year. They're also old on the defensive side. A lot of their players are old. Von Miller being the most significant one, who missed a key tackle this week against the Bengals on Joe Mixon. But yeah, I see where you're coming from to an extent with the one target. But I mean, Gabe Davis ain't no slouch over there. Kincaid ain't no slouch over there.
he's had what, like 2 really good games in the past 3 seasons. One of those being against the Chiefs.
Davis has been pretty solid this season.
He's spotty.
Davis, this season, Davis has been pretty solid if you look at his stats. And Kincaid, since he's taken over as the starting job since what's-his-face went down, has been really, really, really good.
Knox.
Yeah, since Knox went down, Kincaid's been insane.
Right, but he's not another guy that's going to really draw the attention of the other defenders. It's all going to be focused on Diggs.
No, you're right. As far as that goes, that's true. But I mean, I think the Buffalo the weapons that that Allen has are definitely better than Mahomes as a whole. I think Allen has more weapons than Mahomes has as far as receiving goes. Because Kincaid's really good. When Dalton Knox comes back, he's really good. Gabe Davis is better than you're giving him credit for, and Stephon Diggs is right on Travis Kelce's level. But in my opinion, those other 3-4 guys are better than what Kansas City has. Now, if we're talking about Cincinnati, now going to Cincinnati, unless you have a counter argument, I guess I can give you a chance to counter argue that. But.
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say that Buffalo's core is better. I would say that they're more experienced. I wouldn't say Gabe Davis is better than Rashee Rice.
I think Rashee could get to Gabe Davis's point, but I don't think he's
I'd say he could get there very quickly, but I don't think he's there yet.
Sure.
I just think that, sure, they might be a little bit better, but that's because they're more experienced. They're older. We've got a lot of young guys.
Kincaid's a rookie. It's back-to-back.
Right, but Gabe Davis, their other receivers. We've got, Sky Moore was in his second year. Rashee Rice is in his first year. Really, our only experience. Tony's MIA. Who knows where he is?
I don't know what happened with him.
But
yeah.
Our experience comes from MVS and McCole Hardman.
Well, yeah, that's another story.
And obviously Kelsey, but I mean, him and Diggs kind of canceled.
A whole lot since he's came on, which is disappointing.
Yeah.
But no, I see where you're coming from. I agree to disagree, I suppose, on that one. I think Allen has more weapons. You disagree? That's fine.
I do think Allen has taken a step back this year.
Oh, for sure. No, I agree. I definitely. I mean, I've said that all year. That this is Josh Allen right here. You know, he'll have a great game, and then he'll have a shit game, and then he'll have a great game, and then he'll have 2 shit games, and he'll have 2 great games, and he'll have 2 shit games. So no, I agree with that. That Allen's definitely taking a step back. I think he has more to work with, though, which is why it's even more disappointing to see what's happened up there in Buffalo, in my opinion. But with Cincinnati, I mean, if you're looking at this game, you got to feel great as a Cincinnati fan. I mean, Joe Burrow looking amazing, looking back to what he was the last 2 years under center. He seems to be fully healthy again, hitting people like T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd. Tyler Boyd got a lot of opportunities this past week. Joe Burrow looks back to his normal self. Am I wrong to think that?
No, I mean, obviously, I think a big part of it was the calf injury and him getting healthy, but I'm pretty sure I said this earlier in the year in another episode. Burrow hasn't really had a training camp.
Right.
I mean, his first year was COVID. He didn't get to come to training camp, and then he had did he have like an ACL injury or something like that he was coming back from? Didn't have a training camp that year. Then this year, obviously, the calf injury. So every year he's been there, they've started off slow, and then they've got hot towards the middle and end of the season. So it's just kind of par for the course as far as his performance is gone.
Yeah, it seems like old-fashioned Bengal, like year to year, what they do every single season.
Yeah.
So, with the question being about the Bengals, you guys did a great job of answering that, considering you were talking about the Bills and the Chiefs the whole time. What is going on with the Bengals specifically that's kind of made them turn this edge? I know you brought up like Burrow not necessarily having a training camp. He's been injured, so the beginning of seasons aren't always necessarily like the best for him. So do you think like the first few games were like basically his training camp,
Yeah.
and so that's what's taking him so long to get going, and now he's finally in stride and it's going to continue? Or do you think it's just the people that they've been playing, he's been able to kind of pick apart a little bit easier?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen the last few years, the first 4 weeks, 6 weeks, seems to be Burrow's training camp these days because he doesn't have the traditional one. His preseason, if you may. But yeah, essentially it's just him getting healthy. Once Burrow's calf healed up, he's been insane, back to what he was before the injury. What me as a Chiefs fan was scared of before the season started, before the injury happened. He looks just like he did back then. I also think that defense did a great job of holding up while he was injured. And it's going to be scary to see how good those two sides of the ball coincide together going forward, because since he's got a solid defense, which is unusual for them, usually that's the part that you can kind of beat them on, is you can outscore them because their defense isn't typically up to par. But this season, that's not the case. The Cincinnati defense has been pretty solid. And then now you got Joe Burrow coming into form, back to his normal self. I think this team's a really scary team. Defense kind of being a huge part of it, similar to what you see over with the Chiefs. But the offense seems to have turned a corner faster than the Chiefs have. So that's a little concerning as a Chiefs fan.
Aaron, do you have any extra stuff?
I mean, yeah, kind of like Burke said, I don't think it was near as important as it was his first 2 years missing training camp. I mean, you've got the same receiving core he's had pretty much his entire time there. So I don't think that was as big of a deal, but I definitely think his calf healing up is probably the biggest reason for their turnaround. Him running for first downs is kind of a big deal. I mean, saw a couple last game. His ability to kind of get outside the pocket when he has to. Gone are the days of these statue quarterbacks just standing in the pocket.
I know.
A big part of the game now is being able to move when you get pressure and nobody's open, and then you got this wide open lane because everybody's got their back turned to you, or there's this big hole in the zone. So I think his calf healing and him getting fully healthy is really big for them.
Yep.
All right. So, well, it's going to be interesting to see if the Bengals can keep this going. I don't see why they couldn't, but seems like they finally turned an edge and are on the right path back to what we're used to out of Joe Burrow. So that's good. Let's go ahead and skip forward. Let's look into the future a little bit. Give me your guys' thoughts on a little bit of the playoff picture. The AFC, it's pretty tight. AFC is pretty tight. Honestly, the NFC, it's still tight, but they're not winning as many games as the AFC. Eagles are by far best team in the NFC. Give me your guys' thoughts. Give me a little look into the future and who you expect to kind of come out and be playoff contenders.
Well, the AFC North is tough. The AFC North has been a dogfight. I've seen some people saying that all 4 teams could maybe make the playoffs this year with those 3 wild card spots. It'd be hard, but I mean, if you look around the rest of the league, the Bills are really the only team standing in their way of making that a reality. Maybe the Chargers, you could argue, in the AFC. But, I mean, no, there's definitely only one team coming out of the South. I don't think you could say that two teams are coming out of the AFC South. That division's dog shit. Outside of the Chiefs in the AFC West, I mean, there's really nobody relevant unless the Chargers really turn this ship around.
Brand new Raiders.
Maybe brand new Raiders. I don't think that's the case. I think talent's eventually going to win out, and they have probably one of the bottom 5 quarterbacks in the league going forward with AOC. Not the politician, the quarterback. And then in the AFC
Any
East,
comments on the politician?
Yeah, on the what? I have no comments on the politician. I want to keep politics off this channel.
Thanks for the clarification, Burke. Thanks.
Yeah. And then the AFC East, I mean, outside the Bills, The Jets look bad now. I mean, their offense is definitely a problem going forward. Unless Aaron Rodgers comes back next week, I don't have any faith in them. And then the Patriots are obviously a dumpster fire, so I don't have any faith in them. So,
Dolphins.
well, the Dolphins and the Bills, yeah, those are the only two teams in the AFC East that are worth looking at. And I think I think you could easily see the Steelers or the Browns being better than the Bills this year, record wise. So I think at the end of the day, we will only see three teams out of the AFC North. I think we'll see the Dolphins and the Bills in the playoffs, and then we'll probably see everybody but the Steelers out of the North. Maybe the Browns.
Really?
It's going to be between the Steelers and the Browns. I don't know which team's not going to make it. If Deshaun Watson can pull his head out of his ass, then maybe the Browns make the playoffs. But I don't really know. It's going to be between those two teams. The Steelers should not be in playoff contention. Let's get that clear. The Steelers should not be anywhere near the playoffs. They have a negative 30-point differential halfway through the season. There's no reason they should even be sniffing a playoff spot. But for whatever reason, they're not even the 7 seed right now. They're the 5 seed somehow. So
Second in their conference.
I don't understand. I don't know how the Steelers are doing what they're doing. I don't think it holds up. I think they end up missing the playoffs. The Bills get in.
I think bringing up the Steelers with Joe not here to defend himself.
I know. That's a dirty scumbag move by
terrible. Terrible.
I personally said last time that I think the Browns are the one out of that division that missed the playoffs, and kind of like Burke said, obviously Bills and Dolphins are the teams to look out from the East.
Yep.
I think the Dolphins end up winning that division, and the Bills make the wild card spot. Obviously the Chiefs, the Ravens, and then I guess Jaguars would be the other ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only one from them other one from that conference would be maybe the Texans if they went on this massive run. But
yeah, if Bryce Young can keep playing the way he's playing and just will them to win after win, they can make a little run. That's what I meant. Why did I say Bryce Young? Probably because he was freaking a baller in college.
Yeah. That team is not making the playoffs.
That team is terrible. They're 2-7. The Bears are 2-7.
Yeah.
So that's fine. Completely opposite, but it's fine. Whatever. So we've been talking a little bit about playoff picture. What do you give me? I want to do like a power ranking thing, but let's keep it to like your top 5 teams. Your top 5 teams.
Oh wait, I have something for this.
NFL.
I have something for the playoff, or for the power rankings.
Okay. We'll cut.
Hey, you guys can't hear this, but I can. And now, it's time for the most unprecedented and anticipated segment in the history of Swivel Chair Sports. The first ever, never been done before, NFL Power Rankings. Okay, I had audio playing that whole time. You couldn't hear it, but I could. It was very inspirational, if you ask me.
Yeah, it's time for our power ranking segment. We're gonna do 5 teams. I want to hear both of your 5 top teams in the NFL. I want to hear that.
We'll start with number 5.
Do we want to go like 5?
We'll go 5.
Yeah,
we'll go back and forth.
Okay,
back and forth.
Yeah.
We'll start out with number 5.
All right. My 5th best team in the NFL as of today, I think I'll go with the Detroit Lions. Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions are my 5th best team in the NFL right now.
I agree with you. That's what I was gonna pick.
Oh, was it really? That's crazy.
Yeah.
If we have the same list here, I'm gonna be very disappointed in
No.
you.
No, I think they've been really solid this year. Obviously, they're kind of leading the way up there in the NFC North.
Made some good additions with the trade deadline.
Yeah, made some solid additions with the trade deadline. Got an extra receiver out of Cleveland, and they already had a pretty solid receiving core. Jared Goff looked really solid this year. Running game's also been pretty good. Yeah, I don't see any reason why Detroit shouldn't run away with the NFC North going forward. I expect Minnesota to lose at least a few more games. I don't think Detroit will lose more than another 3. So.
All right, Detroit
that's
in the number 5 spot. Detroit in the 5 spot for both. Let's go to number 4.
Aaron,
Who y'all have?
Number 4, I'm going to go with the San Francisco 49ers.
Okay.
I think they've got a really solid defense, and they've had some injuries on the offense that they've had to deal with, but hopefully they get a Deebo Samuel back and they get back to their old form.
I'm going to go the Jacksonville Jaguars at my number 4 spot. Trevor Lawrence is starting to round into form as the season continues. Obviously, Travis Etienne has been incredible this season. And then they have more weapons than they had last year with Christian Kirk, Calvin Ridley, somebody else I'm forgetting right now off the top of my head. But
the tight end.
Yeah, the tight end. I can't think of his name. But yeah, Jacksonville's a really solid offense over there. Their defense is
Ingram.
Evan Ingram. Yes, thank you. The Jaguars have a really solid offense over there right now. Their defense has been pretty good. I mean, their only 2 losses are to the best team in the NFL, the Kansas City Chiefs, and the best quarterback in the NFL, C.J. Stroud. So Jacksonville's been pretty good this year.
Oh, that rounds out our number 4 spot. Let's move on to number 3. Burke, we'll start with you, and then we'll go to Aaron. We'll just do a little snake draft here.
Okay. On this one, I will go with the San Francisco 49ers, having them a spot ahead of what Aaron had them at. Like you said, the defense is incredible with the Deebo Samuel coming back hopefully this week. Eventually, they'll get Trent Williams. If he's not already back, they'll get him back. George Kittle's probably going to be more involved, I would like to say. I think once Brock Purdy has all his weapons back, I think he'll be back to what we saw last year with him. And then they have the best running back in the league, Christian McCaffrey. So, yeah, I got the Niners at number 3.
All right, Aaron.
I have the Baltimore Ravens at number 3. We talked about it earlier, how their offense is really coming along, and they just had a really great defensive performance against the Seahawks, and I think that they look to continue that trend here in these coming weeks.
Nice. Aaron, let's hear your second best team in the NFL.
My second best team in the NFL is the Philadelphia Eagles.
No. You homers. You homers. I knew it was happening.
I almost did it, but the Philadelphia Eagles, they look really good. Offense, it's pretty much the same as last year. Defense, pretty much the same as last year. They lost, I think Javon Hargrave, but that's really one of the biggest pieces and really one of the only pieces that they've missed. Burke doesn't look like he agrees on my pick, but yeah, I think the Eagles are stuck at 2 because the number 1 team hasn't been dethroned yet.
Fair enough. Circle, let's hear it.
So it may seem like what I did because I forgot about a team existing. That's not what happened.
Because you did.
That's not what happened, ladies and gentlemen.
He's leaving the Eagles off, is what he's saying.
I intentionally left the Eagles off my top 5.
You also left the Ravens off.
No, I'm sticking with it. I checked their schedule. I feel good. Ravens number 2. Reasons I don't have the Eagles. Reasons I don't have the Eagles on my top 5. Okay, these are the teams they've played.
Because they have the best.
The Patriots.
The best win percentage in the league.
The Patriots.
Yep.
The Vikings.
Yep.
The Buccaneers. The
Yep.
Commanders.
Your favorite.
The Rams. The Jets, who they lost to. The Dolphins. Good team. The Commanders again. And now the Cowboys, who they should have lost to.
Allegedly.
So I'm gonna keep riding the horse that got me here from last season. Gosh dang it, the Eagles are overrated. I'm sticking with it. And it's definitely not because I forgot about them. Eagles outside my top 5. The Ravens are the second best team in the league. Lamar Jackson looks incredible. The best completion percentage he's ever had in his career. Yeah, the touchdowns are down, but you know what's not? The running game. The running game has been incredible for Baltimore this season. That defense is outstanding. They're leading the most, arguably the toughest division in the league right now at a 7-2 record. A game and a half above second place Pittsburgh. Yeah, Baltimore Ravens, second team.
All right, well, that just leaves the number 1 team on the rankings, and because apparently this is a Kansas City Chiefs podcast, we are gonna just slate that up to both of you guys, and I don't even know if we have to elaborate because Burke is wearing Chiefs stuff on a sports podcast that has now become Kansas City's podcast.
As you know, I am the king of objectivity. I do not show favoritism whatsoever,
Not at all.
Nor do I get caught up in the hype from week to week. Not once have I ever gotten caught up in any hype.
You've never got caught up in 8-1 from Philadelphia Eagles. Never. Once.
No, because they don't play nobody. But the Kansas City Chiefs, you know what they do? They play teams. They play real teams. They play NFL teams. They don't play
like the Bears and the Broncos.
Yeah.
Who they lost to.
The Raiders.
They play the Jaguars. They play the
Lions.
The Lions, yeah. They play the Dolphins. And you could argue they play the Chargers. Well, you could argue they play them. They do play them, but you could argue the Chargers are good. No, the Chiefs are the best team. They got the second best defense in the league, along with the best quarterback and the best head coach.
And the best tight end.
And best tight end. Assuming they turn that offense around, I don't think there's any team that can beat them come playoff time. That's really the only question mark, which, I mean, if Patrick Mahomes' ran offense is your biggest question mark, then I think you're okay. You know, this is the best defense he's ever had in his career. Bar none, not even close. Arguably the best defense. I saw some statistics. It's arguably the best defense that's ever been in the league since he came into the NFL. So that's saying something when you got Patrick Mahomes under center and a defense that good. I just don't see how you can beat this team when all the chips are on the table.
All right. Well, that will wrap up that segment.
Oh, Aaron doesn't get a chance to elaborate?
No, I don't need to say anything.
Okay.
He doesn't. There's no point because it's just the Chiefs podcast.
Fair enough. Okay.
That's all it is. That's all.
It sucks when it's true.
It does suck for me to sit here and listen to Chiefs.
Hey,
Even when we're talking about the Bengals, you guys talk about the Bills and the Chiefs.
Hey, at least we're not bandwagoners. You know, we were born in red and white.
Been here since the Brody Croyle, Tyler
97.
Thigpen days.
I've been a fan since
Green,
'97.
Tony Gonzalez.
Been a fan since I came out the womb, up there in Kansas City. Born and raised, brother.
Okay. Well, we'll move on to our fun sports fact of the week.
Fun sports fact of the week. Let me see if I can figure one
Oh,
out.
I got one pulled up.
Oh, you do? Oh.
I mean,
Oh.
it's not that fun, but it's kind of funny.
It's cool.
Considering how much this money was probably worth back then to compared to now.
Yeah.
But Babe Ruth acquired his 700th home run by paying the fan who caught it $20.
Nice.
That's all it took.
Nice.
$20.
That's crazy. That's so funny.
Hey, that could get you like 50 cans of soup back then.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, it was during
like,
the Great Depression.
That's probably like $500 right now.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
But that'll wrap up this week's installment of Swivel Chair Sports, the most unprofessional sports podcast in the world. I am Siege. These are my co-hosts, Burkle and Aaron. We'll see you guys next time. See ya later.
Deuces.